how did Task Force Rock come together?
Yeah, it was just kind of an idea I had, and it kind of stemmed from an event I took part in as a part of the Air Force Wounded Warrior program. I got a chance. I went during one of their care events, which is a week-long event where they bring people in, and any type of wounded, ill, injured airmen across the Air Force, they bring them in and they introduce them to adaptive sports, other type of treatment modalities. So while I went to one of these events, I got a chance to take part in a program that was called Rock to Recovery. And there was a former guitar player. He was a guitar player in several different bands. He would come in and bring folks together, some that had absolutely no musical experience. Some were like me that, could play guitar. And he would put them together. And in the course of the week while we were there, we would write a song and then perform it at the banquet at the end. It was really cool seeing how, people with limited and, great musical talent could come together and do something like that. And it was just incredible.
Yeah, so Dean put a all call out to the Air Force Wounded Warrior Ambassador Project. And I was like, well, I can play. I've been looking for fun. Let's see what this looks like. I can play bass. You need a bass player? And that's really how it got kicked off.
I started playing piano when I was a little kid, and it didn't stick too well, but I thought guitar would be cool. And it's probably 4th or 5th grade, I started playing guitar and didn't really have much going on until about 2000, and I met a bunch of guys in Fayetteville, North Carolina. We started jamming, and one of them, the singer, was stationed with Dean in the SDS squadron there. He said, man, let's get Dean over. And, Dean came over, and we just kind of hit it off, and this little band took off, and we started playing around Fayetteville and ended up playing some pretty big name shows with, we're just opening acts for music festivals and stuff. But it was, what a great time. And we played together about 3 to 4 years, I guess. And then, I went on and did other things, went to FedEx, went to Hong Kong, played some music there, and came back to the States and played in a band down in Florida. I was keeping in touch with Dean a little bit through LinkedIn, just on and off. He reached out to me the year prior to us actually playing in Pennsylvania and wanted to try to get something together then, and we just couldn't swing it. It just didn't work, and I couldn't go, and but the next year it all kind of fell into place, and what a great experience that whole thing was. It just was amazing. We got together that afternoon, dinked around, and played at the house and Mike's place, and just a wonderful bunch of guys, and just best music experience I've ever had in my whole life.
He followed through, which is probably the biggest reason we came together. Dean's ability to follow through is amazing, and makes him great to work with.
When this event putting this together, you and I had been talking for a while about, nonprofits and trying to do something with this. And you offered up the opportunity in Pennsylvania. I had reached out to a couple friends of mine, one that lived up there in Pennsylvania, another one that I played guitar with before. And, it was just kind of reaching out, hey, I'm interested in trying to put a group together for this. Are you in? And the guy that played drums, or was supposed to play drums, he messaged me a couple months beforehand and said, I'm sorry, I'm out. I got a family event going on. So, kind of led us to our first lineup. And Rob, you want to take the story away from where how we got linked up?
Sure. I mean, I was just I was on LinkedIn, and I assumed you had just seen a veteran who plays the drums and hit me up, just kind of a cold call. And I said, yeah, I'll be there. And then over the next, several weeks, shared the set list, and it was one of the things that I kind of wanted to do as a kid, when I was all grown up. One of those things was playing music, being in bands. I was started early with lessons and, joined bands early in high school. In my 26 years of active duty in the Army, I'd always been in bands, off and on. The first one at 2nd Ranger Battalion, and then first group, while I was out in Okinawa, and a lot of people that really kept me into music. And then beyond, when I came back here to Fort Bragg, it definitely served as a therapeutic outlet. It wouldn't be until much later, I think actually in Pittsburgh, we realized we were in the same unit for quite a long time. We were all in some way, shape, or form connected during our service time. So it's just been fantastic to me.
I was originally a horn player, and that's not something you can do in the barracks without upsetting a lot of people. So it easily fell by the wayside, and then mission tempo and everything picked up, and deployments, etc. It didn't come back in my life until 2012. when we had a personal family tragedy, and I needed something in my life to help keep me sane. I didn't go back to the horn because, again, that doesn't play well in a in a family environment. It's not something I can do and be with other people. So I picked up the guitar and just started going for it in 2012 and chipping away, learning a couple of my favorite songs, and I could play that on the couch while the family was watching TV and not bother anybody. Both things could happen. We could have our family, we could all be together, which is hugely important for us at the time. And I kept it going all the way through Texas, found a couple of buddies who are a lot better at guitar than me. And I joke, but it's the truth. The weakest guitar player always gets the bass, but that's fine with me. That's actually where my home is. And my ear is when I'm playing with other people. That's the pieces that I understand and feel. I got a beater guitar to take with me on this last deployment. I couldn't believe how many guitars I found that were abused on that deployment. And me and another guy connected through our music, and that's how we would decompress in between meetings or in evenings or whatever, And between the two of us, we found the Chappell's guitars and we fixed them up because they were needed a lot of TLC, and that was our normal spot until the chaplain kicked us out because we weren't attending services. We were just using his guitars. So we took our toys and we went and we found other guitars across the different offices and everything, and we started stashing them. So whatever office we were in, we had 2 guitars in that we could play and we could pick around between meetings. And then other guys would start coming out of the woodwork. They'd bring their guitars out from their barracks, from wherever their room was, or wherever they found one, and they'd come, or they'd buy cheap Iraqi-made guitar out and then bring it in, and it'd sound like shit, but they'd play the hell out of it, and we all had a good time.
Everybody knows the power, what music can do for some people, and there's been a ton of studies, and it's been used as a therapy method for years and years and years. One of the things he stated that kind of really stuck with me was that when you listen to music, you engage half your brain, but when you create music, you engage your entire brain. And that got me thinking about, what led me to the AFW2 organization was that I was hit with an IED in 2004 in Iraq. I had been a guitar player before that. I had a guitar, at my rack back at the hooch when I got hit. That was my go-to. I'd come off of something and I'd go and pick up and start playing. With what happened to my brain and the MRI evidence from 12 years earlier, because I didn't get checked out for 12 years after the fact, it was pretty substantial. And it should have been a lot worse of an injury to me. And the only thing I could think was that, I had, that musical side of me, and I, obviously no way to prove it, but in my heart, I feel like that was what kept me able to be functional and keep deploying and climb the ranks and stay in the military.
A lot of people that I knew really wanted that. They sought it out, just like I was seeking that out, just as a way to kind of blow off steam at the end of the day. I'm very fortunate to have had that to kind of sustain me, provide the foundation on top of which was kind of my transition from active duty to, civil service and then beyond.
Tell us about Task Force Rock.
Well, let's actually start with Friday, because I think the weight of the event kind of really started to take shape on Friday, having the banquet with the Gold Star families, and, for me getting the chance to get up there and say a little piece to them, man, it really started to hit home. And I know at one point, we're standing there at the wall, and for those that are listening that don't know, it's this gigantic American flag, was about 40 feet long, and the colors of the stripes and the stars are made up of dog tags of members that have been killed since the start of the global war on terror. So after 9/11. And at one point, Rob and I are walking down the wall and, taking note of it and looking, and I see one of my buddies who we lost in Afghanistan. And then he's looking and he points at the tag that was directly above it, and it was one of his buddies that we lost in Afghanistan. But that Friday night at that event, really you can't describe the feelings that go through you during that time.
The wall you guys had is special and powerful. After hitting my head, I've lost more than a handful of memories, and that wall helped me remember a couple of names. Just a couple. And I was honestly, after that, I was honestly even more shocked at how many names Rob and Dean know on that wall. Yeah.
It's an amazing just an amazing bunch of people, and just the pure patriotism that's there, and people caring about each other, and the wall and the.
It was very heavy, but it was also such a celebration of our community, having all the Gold Star families who were there, seeing the fallen from Eastern Pennsylvania, walking the wall together, and so many names that, we shared, and then just kind of being there for one another as we found yet another, and then another, and then another teammate and friend. Very heavy, but it led into what ended up being just such a great day, true celebration that you guys put together.
Absolutely, yeah. And then Saturday, we get up there and we set up, and the bikers come in and they're doing their poker run, and man, it was just such a great energy. You kind of get one impression of groups of bikers, and man, they had some huge hearts on them. The things that they were doing to help some of the comments that they made to us. We got one of them up on stage and sang a song with us, and you could see that meant a lot to him as well. He was another veteran.
It was nice seeing the reactions from when people would stop and sit down and listen. I was looking out there thinking to myself, it's hot out there, and they're sitting down and listening to us. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
And that's what this is all about. It's about, connecting people through music who you'd never expect to connect. Rob and I never would have met had we not had this event going on. And I reached out to him just out of the blue. I reached out to like 3 people, and he answered me back like within 20 minutes. And then we got on a call at night. So, it's just it's such a weird way to connect people, but man, it was just such an incredible event to be a part of. And when we walked out of there on Saturday, every single one of us, I think it was an exhaustion met with elation, met with just the sheer love for each other, man. There's something about playing music with guys that have like minds and serve the same way you did, and it's just a brotherhood that is beyond anything that you can really imagine. I mean, I don't know how to describe it.
For us to have that magic come together, never seen each other except for Dean and Jeff, that's something special.
It was such a proud moment, an emotional moment. I hadn't cried that much in years.
The whole event was amazing. And I honestly think about it just about every day. Think about how much fun I had.
Very emotional, very... it made you proud to be there.